It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. And now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome to the Tennessee bonus hour of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are delighted to welcome to our microphones right now our very good friend, Clint Brewer, recovering journalist, all-star panelist, and public affairs specialist. Welcome, Clint.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
We're really glad to have you here today. So, 14 days till the election.
We're almost there.
We are almost there.
Very close.
We'll get to kind of where everything stands in the election, both in Tennessee and nationally, in our next segment. But since you are indeed a recovering journalist, I want to talk to you about a story that we did that actually is very interesting. It has now, I posted it on X, formerly Twitter, last night when we published the story. And we published it a little after 10 p.m. Central Time. And now here we are, 11:06 a.m. Central Time. So it's been 13 hours. The story has had 450,000 views on X.
Wow.
Formerly Twitter. And I'll tell you why, and sort of get your reaction to it. So the headline of the story, Warden admits Biden-Harris Department of Justice has illegally imprisoned Steve Bannon since October 19th.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the story.
The warden of the facility Mr. Bannon is incarcerated in?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's interesting. Now, what's interesting about it is we are not the first to report on this story. About 6 o'clock last night, CNN obtained a letter from the warden. The facility is in Danbury, Connecticut, Federal Correction Institute there. And the warden was responding to a letter from Stephen K. Bannon's attorney. And Stephen K. Bannon's attorney said, look, under the First Step Act, Stephen K. Bannon is eligible 10 days before his release. He's earned 10 days of credit. He's eligible for home release back to October 19th. That'd be Saturday. He's now going to be released 1 week from today, but that means he will have served his full sentence, 4 months. And the way they do it in legalese in Bureau of Prison land, they count 30 days as 1 month. So he went in on July 1st, and he is going to be released on October 29th, except because of a law passed by, signed by Donald Trump in 2018, the First Step Act, he was eligible to obtain early release or early home release credit, and he got 10 days of credit. And Bannon's team sent this information to the Bureau of Prisons 75 days ago. Okay. So
that's a difference of how many days?
10 days. He was just would have been out for home release for 10 days.
Gotcha.
The Saturday. Now, why is that important? Because his studio, War Room Studio, is in his house. He could have been on the air for 10 days, right? He could have been on the air since Saturday. So CNN got this first because they were scoping the docket, the federal docket, and they found the letter from Bannon's lawyer and then the response from the warden up in Danbury. And their headline was, Steve Bannon will be released. Steve Bannon will serve his full term and be released on October 29th. But they didn't publish the letter, right? So what's the real story there? They didn't publish.
What did the warden say in the letter?
Well, we happen to have that.
Okay.
Right now. So what we did, because we are real journalists, we happen to know the attorneys for Stephen K. Bannon, and we call them and say, what's going on here? How did CNN get this story before we did? And by the way, they're not publishing the letter. Well, we just happened to obtain the full letter from the attorney and the response from the Bureau of Prisons. And our story, our lead story at the Tennessee Star, here is the request basically in the letter. Trent McCotter the attorney who represents Stephen Bannon, said 10 days of credits mean that Mr. Bannon could have been released to home and should have been released to home confinement 2 days ago on October 19th. He said that. He said that on Monday. And here is the response from the warden, or the acting warden. Quote, to date, Mr. Bannon has earned 10 First Step Act time credits. These credits would typically be applied towards early transfer to supervision. However, Mr. Bannon does not have a term of supervision following his term of imprisonment. Thus, his 10 time credits can only be applied towards pre-release custody in a residential reentry center. Okay, that's fine, except what they said was, we don't have enough time to process the paperwork. And so they're depriving him of what is his right under the First Step Act.
It sounds like he needs a good First Amendment attorney is what he needs. I mean, he's got damages here. He's got,
I think he does. But my point on all this is from a journalistic perspective. So the CNN story only told part of the truth, right?
Yeah.
And the real story is that the Bureau of Prison bureaucrats are intentionally keeping Steve Bannon away from home confinement for 10 days, and they're doing it because they're too lazy to process the paperwork.
Yeah, or it's just more lawfare. I
You
mean,
think?
or it's the DOJ counting on the bureaucratic intransigence of the prison system, knowing that if they don't recognize it soon enough, then it won't get processed soon enough, and it keeps him off the street longer in the middle of an election
That's their objective.
cycle. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they want him off. They don't want him. What they did not want, and Bannon doesn't care. Bannon said, okay, fine, but he should have been broadcasting on War Room.
There's a
From last
fantastic
Saturday.
piece of, in all places, Vanity Fair about Bannon.
Yeah, I saw that
And
piece.
it's not so much about Bannon. It's more about, like, the political movement that he started.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this incredible... The journalist is actually someone who has a lot of contacts on both the right and the left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a scene in it where he has access to Senator J.D. Vance's home and is in his home with him and friends. I mean, so this guy, the journalist, has a lot of access on both sides of the aisle.
Right.
And he interviews a former Obama official who I want to say he was in the State Department or DOJ, but essentially he says we're now in the Democratic Party made to champion policies that we once held abhorrent.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking about the flip-flopping on immigration. He's talking about, the wars overseas and, pushing for war. I mean, so they're all
Liz Cheney.
They're all these
party.
things that the Democratic Party traditionally has positioned itself against, which it's now coming out more truthfully and being very much for.
Mm-hmm.
And, this whole abuse and use of the court system is part of that.
Exactly.
And it used to be everybody deserved a great defense, and we weren't in favor of over incarcerating people unless
it's somebody we don't like, or unless we don't care about that person.
Right.
By the way, everybody listening now, you can go to my X account, Michael P. Leahy on X, and you can see the headline and the link to the story. It said, breaking: Warden admits Biden-Harris DOJ has illegally imprisoned Steve Bannon since October 19th. Right now, as we speak, in 13 hours, 468,000 views. That's the most of any story we've ever done.
That's great.
And the reason is the timing. We saw the CNN story, we got the real data, and we hit it quickly. Boom.
Well, just publishing the empirical source, the primary source, is important. Giving documents.
On that note, when we come back, where do we stand? 14 days till election. Where do we stand in Tennessee? Where do we stand nationally? We'll start with Tennessee. Back with Clint Brewer after this.
folks. John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, all-star panelist, good friend, Clint Brewer. Clint, 14 days to go. 14 days to go. Let's talk about Tennessee. Yeah, are there any big offices where there's a battle?
I don't know about a battle. I mean, I think in Mark Green's race, 7th Congressional District.
Right.
I mean, I think
but that district goes from Montgomery County all the way, takes part of Davidson, takes part of Williamson County.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty large district. And in that race, Mark Green, the incumbent, a Republican, is being challenged by the disgraced former mayor of Nashville, Megan Perry.
Yeah, and I caveat by saying I do actually like Megan on a personal level, but I don't know if that's like a big battle. But
not
I mean,
really.
she's putting up a fight. Let's put it that way, right?
She's raising money.
She's right, and she's run a good race. I think she's been extremely active in the district. I don't know that it matters at the end of the day.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know that that's gonna even I just don't think it's gonna matter. But I would say of the races around here, that's probably the one where the Democrat has run the best race and put up the best fight. Of course, she's got a lot of infrastructure still from her time as mayor. Still has a lot of supporters. I think she will probably do very well in Davidson County. Right.
Which is what, 20% of the district?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one's worth watching, not necessarily the outcome,
But
but
55-45,
the margin,
What do you
right?
think?
Like,
What do you think
can
the
she
margin
get it
will
in
be?
single digits? That's the question.
I think that's right. If she gets it in single digits, then she says, "I'm back." Right?
Yeah.
And then she runs for governor.
Yeah.
That's a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
You got because, well,
I mean, there are still people in Nashville who wouldn't mind her see her running for mayor again. I mean, frankly, she has a very devoted group of political supporters.
but we do have a Democrat mayor right now, Freddie O'Connor.
Yeah, I mean, down the road,
Yeah,
not
down
against
the road.
Freddie, but yeah, I mean, Megan's still a very young person, so I mean,
She does have. I would say it would be fair to say that she's run a good enough campaign to be able to be back in the arena.
yeah.
As a viable political candidate.
No, I think it's been a very respectable campaign in terms of the effort, in terms of the messaging, in terms of using what she's got. I mean, I think it's been well done.
My caveat is, I think she's terrible, but we have a different view on that.
We do. I think she's reclaimed a political future, particularly if she can get it down to single digits.
Yeah,
That would be
I would agree with you.
That
on
would be remarkable.
Where would she go next?
Hard to say. There's so few options for Democrats in this state and in this area. I think going to the legislature would be going backwards for her.
It would.
But
where? I mean,
what else is there?
where could you go in Congress? I mean,
You can't. I mean,
And the other statewide offices are, you've got
senator, governor.
senator or governor, and she's not going to unseat Bill Hagerty,
No.
except, if Trump wins, are we talking Secretary of State Hagerty or, there might be something there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think for someone like her, I mean, I have to wonder whether, the state Democratic Party is not looking for more established leadership. I mean, it's not exactly hitting on all cylinders. You need somebody who can raise money. You need somebody who can organize. Right. I mean, she's got the closest thing to a machine that Democrats have in this state.
I think her hope might be, if Harris were to win, some kind of federal sinecure. I imagine
that's what is that word again?
A sinecure.
What is that?
It's a safe place to stay where nobody bothers you.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look. That's a good one. Normally I do this to you. You're doing it to me today. She could take an appointment. If Harris wins, I don't think Harris is going to win, but if
I don't
Harris
either.
wins,
we'll get to that in our next segment.
Look, she is. I think she has availed herself respectably in this politically in this contest, and I think she has established that has a future in politics.
The other congressional race, the 5th district, Andy Ogles, the incumbent Republican. He's somebody by the name of Marion something.
Miriam's a very nice person.
What's her last name?
Abelfazi. I
Okay,
believe
right
I'm
there.
saying that correctly.
We're not talking Mariam Ofazi. We're talking Mariam Abelfazi.
I believe I have that correct. Miriam's a super nice person, and she's a Nashville native.
You're kind to all these leftists.
You're
a kind person.
I just try to be nice to people in general.
Yeah.
And I know Miriam, and she is a very good person.
You're much kinder than I am.
I don't agree with much of her politics. I do agree that she is a very nice person.
Yeah, I've never met her,
and a good mom, and she's good people. But I don't think that's a competitive race.
She hadn't raised much money.
Yeah, I mean, she's a very well-regarded activist in Davidson County.
Right.
After the Covenant School shooting, she got very involved with that. And again, it's an anomaly, her actually being a native of Nashville. We don't get many of those anymore.
But that particular district has got
you're way out in the country with a lot of that.
A little bit of Davidson County.
You're in Wilson County, which
Williamson
is
County, Murray County Marshall.
Yeah, it's a tough sell.
That's probably 60-40, 59-41.
It's a tough sell,
I would say, even with Andy's difficulties with financial reporting.
I'd say it's going to be somewhere between 15 and 20 point margin.
Yeah, I would say too. So that's kind of. And then with the Senate race, Marcia's easily going to defeat Gloria Johnson.
That thing's been over.
It's been over. That was over before it even started.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the mayor, Freddie O'Connell's big signature program, this transit tax. A very feisty group of grassroots activists led by Ben Cunningham and Emily Evans have put together, I think, a very good low-budget campaign opposing it.
Low budget being the key phrase.
Yeah?
Yeah, know both of them. Also think well of them. They're very well-intentioned. I think it's going to pass. I like everybody today, Mike. I'm just in a happy mood. I think it's going to pass. I think it'll probably pass by, somewhere around 10 points, give or take. I don't think it's particularly unpopular, but I don't think it's unpopular either. I think that they have struck the exactly right tone, which is essentially to fly just below the radar screen so as not to inflame conservative Middle Tennessee writ large, but fly just high enough where they, capitalize on Mayor O'Connell's popularity and get the votes done. It's almost like a vote for the transit referendum is another vote for Freddie.
I think it's going to be single digits.
Yeah. I said give or take. It could be 10, it could be 8 or 9. But I think.
But if you're looking for an upset, if you're looking for a surprise on Election Day, that referendum is the surprise I'd be looking for.
I think the opposition did too little too late. I think they got started late, and I don't think there's enough heat around it to get people. But I will say this.
We'll see.
I will say this. I do
say?
know quite a few sort of mainstream Republicans who have voted against it. I mean, I think that there is...
And I know a number of young people who have voted against it.
Right.
Right. Because they you make a comparison. So a lot of young people really like Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
And Elon Musk is talking about going to Mars. Elon Musk had that terrific, booster rocket land in a, little holding pattern in a way that just, and they look at that and they like Musk and they like Tesla and they like technology advancement, and they say, now we're going to spend half of this on buses.
Yeah.
And they go, dude, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Right? Because nothing says modernizing Nashville like outdated 19th century technologies. Right? Or early 20th century technologies.
Yeah, I mean, no, I hear you. I think that's fair. I think that you can't really begin, and this is I don't think this is the plans failing. I just think this is a public policy failing, period, in Middle Tennessee. These governments, the suburban governments, the collar counties, if you will, and then the next layer beyond that, the Murray counties in Nashville, they all have this pretense to regionalism, and it doesn't exist.
Pretense to regionalism.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that. Explain it, but I know what you mean by that.
So about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when the Music City Star, the commuter rail line, got going, there was all this talk amongst politicians in Middle Tennessee about how we were going to solve our problems through regionalism, and what that means is, Williamson County, Rutherford County, Wilson County, Sumner County, Cheatham County, all the other counties, and Davidson County working together to solve problems at a public policy level and creating mechanisms to do that. And, it just doesn't really happen.
It doesn't happen. And
now there are people who would argue vociferously with me about that.
But
right?
it doesn't happen. And the reason it doesn't happen, it's not because these are bad people.
No.
It's just because a county government is focused on that county. Yeah. And there's no overarching authority to tell 12 counties to work together.
For example, and
we
furthermore,
got 30 seconds.
Well, we'll come back to it.
We'll come back to that. We'll close with that thought. We'll open with that thought in the next segment, and then we'll move right away into the national scene 14 days out.
Okay.
Back with Clint Brewer after this.
Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it. Believe me. Impersonator
Michael
not endorsed.
Patrick Leahy.
When you look at Kamala Harris, you have to think of her in the context of an upgrade from Joe Biden. As a campaigner, Kamala Harris represents a greater threat to Donald Trump than does Joe Biden.
The Michael Patrick Leahy Show on the John Fredericks Media Network. Weekday mornings, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. You better listen.
I don't think anyone should take this threat lightly. Mutts Cuts Grooming. This summer, never leave pets in vehicles while running errands. Even with windows cracked, 80 degrees can shoot up to 120 degrees, causing heat stroke, dehydration, and even death. So keep pets hydrated, shaded in cool areas, or just leave them at home. That's from Kathy, Candy, and the staff at Mutts Cuts Grooming, the people with warm hearts for those with cold noses. For your pet's grooming needs, call 931-645-9220. That's 931-645-9220 for Mutts Cuts Grooming in Clarksville, Tennessee at 1479 Tiny Town Road.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, all-star panelist, good friend Clint Brewer. Let's wrap up the regionalism argument there that you're making. Then we'll go to national.
Yeah, sure. So I was trying to make a point. This transit referendum I think is going to pass, but really, how do you solve the problem of traffic in Nashville without all of these governments working together? I mean, traffic flows into and out of Nashville from all the major suburban counties. The highways are backed up. I mean, it accounts for a large majority of Nashville's workforce that drives in and out every day. And there's just no coordination past the Metropolitan Planning Organization, the local MPO, as to when roads are built, how they're built, what type of roads we build. And are roads even still the answer? Should we be encouraging people to drive into Nashville to work, or should there be economic development programs in these counties where jobs are coming to the counties where people actually live?
Well, that would make some sense.
So I mean, it's just there's a lack of connectivity. This referendum is purely addressing how we get around Nashville,
right?
But it doesn't address how we get to Nashville.
Yeah.
And so really, is getting to Nashville still something that's desirable and should be pursued?
Isn't this a state level issue though, to figure that out?
It is, and it really is, and I think you see some of these outlying counties with stronger economic development programs than others. Some of them are really pursuing white collar jobs, jobs that require college graduates. Some of them are not. Some of them really. You can't live, work, and play there. You can only live and play there, and you have to drive to Nashville to work. So it's not just on Davidson County. It's on some of these suburban counties to offer a more fully fledged government product, if you will. And there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen around this, and it really doesn't happen.
I agree. I think we have to, as Gwen Walt says, turn the page.
Yeah.
Are you ready to turn the page?
Are we done with regionalism? Is that your way of telling me to get off my local government soapbox, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
I don't mind your local government.
All right, let's get off of it. Let's move on to something more interesting.
This is, in fact, the Tennessee bonus hour.
Yeah.
Well done. But let's talk about national scene. I'm looking now at the Real Clear Politics no toss-up electoral college map. We haven't seen, they're not tracking national polls as much right now.
Sure.
It's still showing nationally Harris up by 1.8% on the average, which is way behind what Biden was way in 2020, way behind what Hillary was in 2016. But if you look at, and the magic number is 270, you need 270 to win out of 538 electoral college votes. If you look at the no toss-ups, it's Trump-Vance 312, Harris-Walz 226, with every single battleground.
That's like
state.
no toss-ups, meaning if it leans one way, you count
Right.
it.
Yeah. You count it with no toss-ups, right? And, the battleground states, all the battleground state polls appear to be within the margin of error, so asterisk. But it shows Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, all in the Trump camp right now.
Which poll is that?
This is the Real Clear Politics.
The average.
Average of polls. And now, in every state, battleground state, the lead is 1% to 2% for Trump.
Which we saw in 2016 doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're having trouble tracking, and this is the phrase of the election season, low propensity voters. Voters who aren't out there voting in every single election but are going to come out in a presidential they're interested in. I don't think the polls do. I don't think they have any way to track those voters. And the swing they can bring when they come out. I know now that, and it's been well publicized, both campaigns are vying for those. I think the Trump campaign have had about a 2-year head start. So I look at the activity and how both campaigns are spending their time. I thought it was a bit of a alarm bell when I saw the vice president do the Fox News interview. That seemed like a bit of desperation. I don't know why you would have her go do that interview, and particularly as ill-prepped as she was for it.
Ill-prepped.
And I mean, Brett Baer is not exactly a bulldog as far as a journalist goes. So I mean, that seemed that and all the sort of non-traditional media she's doing that is clearly targeting men. I mean, you do Howard Stern, you do Charlemagne the God. I mean, you do these podcasts and these shows that
who's your daddy or what's daddy's calling?
Yeah, and
or
I think
whatever.
that was more sort of the women vote she's already got. But it looks and Trump is the newest theme they're trying to put out there is that Trump is he's exhausted on the campaign. They're playing the age card.
Yeah, it's like he's the back to the exhausted. Breaking today is this. Kamala Harris, do you know what she's doing today? She is not on the campaign trail. She's taking a day off. She's in Washington, D.C., getting briefed. I don't know. Clint.
On what?
Who knows? To me, Clint, it seems that
could be a spa day. She's got to keep up.
I was thinking spa day.
I mean, I'm not being facetious either. I'm not trying to be ugly.
No.
I mean, you gotta keep things up. But
I was totally thinking spa day.
I mean, I would consider that actually a valid reason not to be on the trail.
You've seen her on the trail.
Yeah.
I think she needs a spa day.
I don't know. I think she looks pretty good on the trail. She's pretty pulled together. But that's never been her problem, right? It's not the way she looks. It's when she opens her mouth. You know, I mean, it would be better if they were actually getting briefed. But like the Trump thing, the McDonald's thing was hilarious.
Oh, it was fun.
And it was lighthearted, and you know,
It was fun.
He seemed to actually know what he was doing, which was the crazy part.
Well, no, actually, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Because he's the kind of guy who, you know, he worked for his dad,
Right.
who was a big, you know, very tough guy on, you know, basically real estate stuff.
Yeah.
Which means, you know, clean the place, make sure it works, and don't screw it up.
Right.
And that's where he comes from. So he knows how to do stuff.
Yeah,
he was actually pretty good on the fries.
That kind of thing is sort of gold. It stole the headlines. I mean, it stole everything. It got every photo everywhere on social media. I mean, it you know, I think the race being this close, this late, certainly favors Trump.
Well, Mark Halperin would agree with you. Remember Mark Halperin?
Oh, yeah.
Big
the Atlantic.
ABC guys.
Yeah.
ABC, and then was at NBC for a while.
And a very pretty left. I mean, he's not a hardcore conservative journalist. I mean,
he's left of center.
Yeah,
usually.
very much so.
I told you he interviewed me once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you about that. Yeah, with my adventure at Morning Joe a long time ago. Here's what he said. Quote, if the early vote numbers stay the way they are, we will almost certainly know before Election Day who's going to win. It's looking very good for Trump. If these numbers hold up, we'll know that Trump is going to be president.
Yeah, I heard him a month ago on one of the Puck news podcasts, and called Somebody's Got to Win, and he was bullish on Trump's chances a month ago. I mean, you know, he was. I just think what you're seeing, and we won't know the results till we know them, but I think you're seeing that it takes more than a handful of months to turn somebody into a presidential candidate.
Good point. Yeah, a good point. And talk about that. I mean, Trump has been a presidential. First, let's look at his background. I mean, Trump has been a public figure,
right,
since what? He's 30 years old.
He's had a brand, and he's
had a brand.
He's a defined quantity. And, you know, the vice president, I mean, she's like a lot of vice presidents. It's not just her. I mean, most vice presidents, I mean, you didn't hear a lot from Pence, right? I mean, exactly. I mean, you know, you didn't hear a lot from Cheney. I mean, you know, or Gore. I mean, you heard more from Gore than anybody. But, you know, it's not a role that really sets you up for success. In turn, politically, it does not really set you up to run for president particularly well. You know, and so I think you're seeing that right now. She's not defined. She's changed all her positions from when she came in last in 2019 in the Democratic primary for president. That's confusing to people. They don't know who she is. She's tried to appeal to so many people at once that it's a little discombobulating. You know, one day she's talking to male voters, then she's talking to young voters. She doesn't have that coalition pre-built that she won a primary with.
So there is an article on The Hill by Harlan Ullman, who is a senior advisor at the Atlantic Council, right? Kind of a national security wonk. The headline is, this just came up, literally was published 15 minutes ago. What if Joe Biden was a better candidate all along?
That's a fair question.
Honestly, compared to Kamala Harris.
Well, can you imagine the amount of hand-wringing and second-guessing and backbiting and questioning that will be done if this does not break the Democrats' way? I mean, not just the White House, but the Senate. I mean, you know.
And you know who I think stands to have the biggest hit to their legacy on this? Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, possibly.
Right, because, I mean, she's the one who made this happen.
Right.
I mean, she and others, but she was sort of the lead in that process.
In her defense, she also bemoaned all the men hanging back and letting her do the dirty work. So,
well, they are Democrat men. So, I mean,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
She's got more, you know what, than all of those guys combined. I mean, look, you got to give the devil the due.
Well, did you see the,
I mean, she knows how to apply pressure.
Did you see the Trump speech at the, what is it, the thing in New York, the something Smith, the fundraiser.
Al Smith.
The Catholic
Right.
charities
I
fundraiser.
mean, that has been a major political function since 1948.
Right.
Every presidential election year is a big fundraiser.
Right. And neither the sitting president or the nominee were there.
The last Democrat to skip that meeting, that event, was Walter Mondale.
That's not a good
1984
pattern to follow.
He won one state electoral college, his home state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
And Ronald Reagan won 49.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that is another, but that's another example of, it's kind of like the McDonald's thing. Like the Trump campaign's gone macro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just, now they're just playing for entertainment value. Now they're just trying to make him, they're doing things that, you know, kind of make him likable. I mean, the sound bites from that fundraiser are hilarious.
They are. But here's the thing.
I mean, Chuck Schumer was trying not to laugh.
Chuck Schumer.
I mean, like when Chuck Schumer's trying not to laugh at Trump's jokes, they're pretty good.
Well, not only that, you look at just, if you would turn the sound off and you'd watch Trump and Vance campaigning, compare them to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz campaigning.
Yeah, and look, certainly there have been some missteps, like there are in every campaign. But I got to tell you, I think Vance has added a lot to the ticket.
So we're looking at, you're voting for 12 years is really what people are voting for. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty optimistic view of the future. P.S., I'm pretty sure we're going to go to Mars before the end of that 12-year period.
Right.
Thank you, Elon Musk.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I turned into a fan of the guy. How about that?
Of Musk?
I have.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more. It'll be,
Okay.
guess what? It'll be time for
News Potpourri.
Here we go.
With Rocky Talk, right? Because we beat Alabama, right? Right?
Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology. designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, all-star panelist, good friend, recovering journalist, public affairs specialist, Clint Brewer. Clint, it's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I like to string out that music. I love it so much. News Potpourri, this is a portion of the program where we talk about the stories that of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and have a touch of irony. I don't know if this is irony or just desserts. Maybe that's the right word. Tennessee Volunteers doing great.
Yeah.
Beat Alabama.
Oh, it was so much fun. I was there. It was great.
You were there.
I was there. Took my older son. It was fantastic.
You and Josh Dobbs?
I don't think Josh Dobbs was there.
Yeah?
I think he was there for the Florida game.
I was there for that's right.
I've now seen us beat Florida and Alabama in back-to-back weekends.
Isn't that something?
Been great. Just great.
So that's the second loss for Alabama.
Yes.
With the new coach.
Yep. Well, I mean, they're 0 in the state of Tennessee. They lost to Vanderbilt first, and they lost to University of Tennessee.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. That coach going to be in trouble?
Oh, if you've read the press, he's already getting just raked over the coals down there.
Yeah.
They're not patient people.
No.
They're not. They think that it's their right.
You think, but it's the whole Phil Bankston problem. You never want to replace the legend.
No, I wondered who was going to take that job. It's like you're going to be there for 2-3 years at best.
You don't want to be the guy that replaces the legend.
No.
You want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaces the legend.
Right.
The reference to Phil Bankston, he was the he followed Vince Lombardi as the coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Well,
that's why
they had. I mean, they fired. Oh gosh, what was his name? Gene Stallings.
Yeah.
In the mid-'90s, after they won that incredible 92 championship team at Alabama, Stallings comes up the next year, doesn't win it, and they fire him. And then they went to the wilderness for like
a long time.
Oh, forever.
Yeah.
Until I mean, they had like 5 coaches in, and
then they brought back
8 years or something crazy, and then they got Saban away from the Dolphins, and he turned out to be the greatest coach in college football history. And how do you follow that guy?
It's just like this guy. I mean, how many losses will Alabama fans put up with?
Well, I mean, they'll owe him a ton of money if he leaves before his contract's up.
Well, the key decision,
these coaches have gotten their agents have gotten a lot smarter.
Yeah.
Which is, make it hurt so much that they've got to keep you.
Let me just tell you something. If they decide he's not the guy,
they'll find a way. Yeah.
He'll be gone.
Yeah.
But look, it is a little early, but 2 losses, not good losses either.
Well,
really.
I don't know. Tennessee was 12.
I know, but I mean,
you're playing in Neyland Stadium.
I don't think they played well, though.
Well, they played about like they played all year. I mean, the only time they didn't play like that was the first half against Georgia.
Right.
They came out and dropped 28 points on Georgia in the first half and then almost lost it in the second half.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
So they've had one really good half all year.
Yeah, but I mean, Saban would recruit players and keep them. I mean, that was his model. His model was not the portal. And
that's one of the reasons he left.
DeBoer has had to rely on the portal because he had so many people leave. People signed up to play for Nick Saban. And when he wasn't there, they all left. And so they had a big talent drain, and then they brought a bunch of portal kids in. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Next topic. Nathan Wade, lover boy, toy boy for Fonnie Willis, right? Fulton County. He was deposed in a House oversight hearing. Guess what? He admits to multiple meetings in the Biden White House. But
not a big shock.
But he can't remember what the meetings were about.
Is it catching? Did he catch that from the president? I don't know.
What he says is, I have no specific memory of those meetings.
It's like that line from Clear and Present Danger. I have no recollection of that, Senator. I do not recall that conversation, Senator.
Yeah. Hey, here's something very troubling. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, here's a report. A senior defense official there leaked classified documents to Iran.
In our Department of Defense?
Yeah, that's a report.
From where?
Let me see who's giving us that report. Asterisk. Glad you asked that. Al Jazeera is reporting that.
Oh, well, I mean, they might actually know.
Yeah.
Their sources on that might be pretty good.
They would have better sources in Iran than you and I would have.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Al Jazeera breaks news sometimes.
A senior Pentagon official disclosed that the suspect in leaking documents about Israel's potential attack on Iran is the director of the Office of the Assistant Commander of Special Operations at the U.S. Department of Defense.
Wow.
This individual allegedly passed the documents to Iranian authorities, raising alarm over U.S. security. Well, if that's true, is that a treasonous offense? I think it might be. Don't you?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm
not
well versed in that.
All of those things, but boy, that seems to be very much the case here. You know that story I was telling you about that we broke?
Yeah.
We are about to, and we might even do it.
Break a 500,000?
We're at 498,700 views of our breaking story we published last night, 10 p.m. Central Time. Warden admits Biden-Harris Department of Justice illegally imprisoned Steve Bannon since October 19th. 498,700 views and counting. I'm just thinking, we've got 60 seconds. We might break. Let's just see if we do it. We might break. We just might break.
You've become your own news potpourri, Mike.
I am my own news potpourri in this instance because it's like, one of the biggest stories that we've ever done. Oh, there we go. 499,000. But we're not going to make it in the next 60 seconds.
Okay, you might.
Clint Brewer, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
A great pleasure. Up next, Rob Carson. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Central Time. I hope you have a great day. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a word about my good friend Dustin Damon. Dustin is the best handyman in Middle Tennessee. Call Dustin today at 724-683-4400. That's 724-683-4400 if you have a job around the house that you just haven't gotten around to. If you're busy like me, you just may not have the time to fix that broken mailbox, repair the back porch, or get that old light fixture back to working properly. Do what I did. Call Dustin Damon today at 724-683-4400, and he will bring his truck and tools to your house and get that job done lickety-split. Dustin's main service area is Williamson County and the southern part of Davidson County. So call Dustin Damon, the best handyman in Middle Tennessee today, at 724-683-4400. Tell him you heard about him on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. The Chief Team reminds listeners here that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs too. That's why the Chief Team is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire veterans. That's from the Chief Team, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. For more information, call 931-444-3572. That's 931-444-3572 for the Chief Team in Clarksville.
The Black preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music. PBS presents a new series hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Gospel.
Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
Gospel is a prayer. It is our heart's cry to God in lyrics and song.
You feel it deep down in your soul.
Gospel. Streaming now on the PBS app.